Welcome to Channels TV, sponsored by Volo. At the end of the big summer from BigCommerce, I'm here with Brent, CEO of BigCommerce. How are you?
Doing great. Excited to be here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
It's been a fantastic day, and there's been so much that you've talked about today, but I think there's a couple of things I want to ask for the people that couldn't actually make it. And the first is, you shared some interesting stats on BigCommerce financials from a couple of months ago this morning. How is the company doing, and are you profitable?
Yes, we're profitable. Now, I have to answer this. We're in the quiet period before our next earnings release, so I have to limit my comments to what I have already said from the prior earnings, meaning from Q4 last year. But Q4 was an absolute milestone quarter for us. It was our first quarter of not just profitability, but high profitability. We had an adjusted EBITDA margin, 8% of revenue, operating cash flow, 16% of revenue. We guided again to solid profitability in 2024. So we're a profitable company with a strong balance sheet, and as a public company that's transparent to our customers, partners, prospects, it's a good place to be.
And I think that's important, because anyone that's going to put their business in your hands effectively by using BigCommerce needs to know that there's stability there. But what has made this, what's driving this profitability, and what are you doing differently perhaps to some of your competitors that are making customers love you?
Well, on the profitability side, investors, whether public or private, obviously switched their own mindset back in 2022. When high inflation led to high interest rates, the notion that it was okay for companies to keep growing unprofitably, therefore always requiring ever more investment, that didn't make sense.
The model that Amazon used for decades and decades and decades before they started turning a profit.
Yeah. And the overwhelming majority of public and private technology companies were caught on the wrong side of the growth versus profitability equation. We were in a rather unusual circumstance in 2022 in that despite the downturn in the e-commerce industry, we never actually missed our guidance numbers as a public company, top line that year. So whereas a lot of companies were forced to restructure and cut costs because they missed their earnings as a public company, we didn't, but we still had to, make some hard choices on how we spend to bring profitability into last year. And so we're delighted to have brought it into last year. There's no question now that, our model, which is a high gross profit model, can sustain great bottom line profitability. Therefore, our customers, our partners are in very secure hands with us.
So what have you done that's different to the competition? And I'm thinking about things like, you've gone heavy on Composable and B2B, but what really made the difference that made people put their trust in BigCommerce as opposed to using a different platform?
The single biggest difference between us and our competition strategically is what we call Open SAAS. And Open SAAS was the strategy we adopted starting in 2015 when I came in to move BigCommerce up market, into the mid-market and into enterprise segments to compete with what at the time was the winning model in the on-premise software era, open source, right? Magento had 20% share, small, medium, and large, B2B and B2C in 2015. And it was our thesis that the world most needed from BigCommerce, not another run-of-the-mill small business SaaS platform, but for the first time to actually make SaaS as open source, or as close to it as possible, and as enterprise capable as Magento and the other legacy on-premise platforms. And so we call that Open SAAS. We basically took our SaaS monolithic product, decomposed it into microservices, meaning we introduced APIs at the front end of each of our product components that would let customers, agency partners, technology partners extend, modify, access the different functionalities in an e-commerce platform, and that's really the open part, and then the enterprise functionality we've added to it. So if you think about what's different today about BigCommerce, in a nutshell, of the general platforms, because of our openness, we're the one that does composable better than the competition. In terms of B2C, we're the one that does enterprise and mid-market better than the competition. And what we're really excited about is what we're doing in B2B. It's the first time that SaaS has the combination of the user experience of B2C, not just in the front end, but also in the actual B2B functionality, the buyer portal that we've delivered. So B2B, enterprise B2C, composable, those are areas we're winning in. And I haven't even gotten to omnichannel, which is our Feedonomics subsidiary.
Yeah. So I just want to go back to the Open SAAS, as you call it, model. What difference does that make? Because you've got some great partners. I mean, PayPal, we're here today on the payment side, but you've not got your own payment engine as an example. But how has being open and letting other people like PayPal or Stripe plug their payment engines in rather than you create the payment engine made you more attractive to the customers? Surely, do people just not want a solution out of the box that works with everything in?
Well, we do have that. It's just the payments are provided by the world's best payment providers, and our customers have choice amongst them. So you're hitting on a great example of Open SAAS in practice. Because our target customer is a complex business, small, medium, or large, there is no one-size-fits-all payment solution. You know, for every category, every size, every country, every use case, B2B and B2C. We have competition who tries to shove a single proprietary solution for payments down all their customers' throats. I think that both shortchanges their customers and limits their ability to really succeed for complex businesses, especially in the mid-market and enterprise. Rather than building our own, we instead have the strategy of not just integrating the best solution providers in the world, but partnering with them strategically so that their roadmap is our roadmap. Their best new payment innovations come into ours. And so that includes our flagship payment processors like PayPal, Stripe, and Adyen, the leading wallets around the world, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, of course, PayPal Express Checkout, the leading buy now, pay laters, Klarna, Firm, Afterpay, Zip, etc. But also many other payment providers that have real leadership positions in specific countries, specific categories, specific use cases. We'll go to all those companies and say, we don't compete with you. We actually want to be your best partner. How do we be your best partner? Let's get your best capabilities native into the checkout so there is no work for a merchant or their agency partner to turn on your best capabilities. And we ask them to invest in those integrations. That's the one thing we do. We say, we're not going to compete with you, so we want you to invest in improving our integration into your best capabilities. And you know, we really have done that in a way that brings true competitive advantage. As an example, we were either the first or one of the very first platforms to incorporate Stripe Link, which is their one-click accelerated checkout experience for recognized shoppers. We did the same thing. We were first to integrate PayPal Fastlane. We were the first to integrate Bolt, even before those two. And these are extraordinary innovations that you get first and best with BigCommerce, and you get to choose as a merchant.
So that's for payments, but what other types of services are customers asking for and partners providing best-of-breed services for?
I love to answer that focused on the storefront and the front end. So going back to Open SAAS, I came into the company in 2015, and going into 2016, my team said, even though we are investing in what we intend to be the best theme library, page builder, sort of out-of-the-box hosted storefront solution, we call it Stencil, they said at the same time, we're open. And so we should be open to all other competing front-end technologies. At the time, it was called headless. It was back before headless or composable was cool. There was no Mock Alliance in 2016, but we actually launched with our first headless customers, specifically Harvard University, Harvard Business Publishing, who's still live with us on a headless model, in 2016. Ever since then, rather than dismissing composable as an approach, we embraced it. We joined the Mock Alliance as the second platform in it. Several years ago, I'm on the advisory council there, and we now have more than 4,000 composable front ends and headless builds on BigCommerce. That gives us really great insight into all the different front-end technologies, the frameworks, the CMSs, the search engines, the hosts, really anything that can be used on the front end. We have many examples of all of them. And consequently, we have evolved our own thinking from not just a choose-your-own-adventure approach, like we support them all, look at all these examples, but actually we've become somewhat opinionated, at least with what we are calling Catalyst, which is an optional reference architecture, meaning we'll step into a demo with a customer who is interested in composable and have an out-of-the-box demonstration of a Next.js React-based website that can be hosted by our great partner Vercel or someone else, is pre-integrated with any of a number of leading content management solutions like Contentful, Content Stack, Amplience, and others. WordPress is pre-integrated with leading search and merch providers like Algolia and Bloomreach, etc. It makes composable, including the most popular and highest performing technologies in the world, extraordinarily simple. You know, historically it would take a merchant or an agency a month or two to compose the architecture I just described. We can give it to you in 60 seconds with the press of a button. Pre-integrated with all of our GraphQL APIs, all the BigCommerce functionality, you just start the design process. That is an example of how being open to the wide range of extraordinary front-end technologies has equipped us to now start making a leadership offering to the market that makes headless simple, headless without the headache, using the most popular high-performing frameworks. And we're targeting out of the box something you can't get on any other platform in the world. Perfect 100 Google Lighthouse scores for speed, for SEO, for accessibility, for image optimization. That comes all out of the box. You can see the scores, 100, 100, 100, 100, and then it's up to you as a merchant and an agency, keep working with this technology and preserve that 100 or as close to it as possible.
And that's when you can start saying, okay, this is my favorite, I'd rather have this than what was in the box, and you can start switching different services in that suit your business.
Exactly.
And I think suiting your business is something we should talk about, because I know with your multi-storefront, it gives so many possibilities, from things like having different country sites with different languages and potentially different payment processors, because different countries do have different preferences, but it also opens us into the world of the B2B and B2C and possibly even wholesale, all again on the same back end but with different storefronts.
Yes.
So where's the future of this going? What do you see as the real opportunity for brands and retailers here? And what do you think they're going to be asking for you in another year's time? You've got the multi-storefront, the multi-language, the B2C, B2B. What are people going to be wanting next?
Well, there's a funny twist in what you just laid out, but we're not the originators of multi-storefront. You know, there were platforms from the 90s, even like InnerShop, that had multi-storefront. What we did that nobody's ever done before is taken a SaaS platform while it was powering 50,000 plus live merchants that was originally built as one store, one storefront. And we rewrote the entire platform to now be one store, N number of storefronts. The use cases are that you can start with a single brand, single geography, single use case like B2C, add additional brands or sub-brands, additional geographies, additional use cases, like maybe add B2B to B2C or vice versa. And many of our customers are doing all or some of the above. There are real complexities. It's not just different languages, as you know, different currencies, but you might actually need different payment processors and methods in different countries. Some countries include tax in the pricing, VAT countries. Others, it's exclusive in the pricing and it gets added in the checkout, like in US and Canada. So we're working all of these things in. But one of the funniest developments is as we have completed the multi-geography components of multi-storefront, we've then had some subset of customers come back and say, you know, now that I think about it, I really don't want multiple storefronts. I just want one that's multilingual, multi-currency. We already have multi-currency in a single storefront, but then doing the multilingual is another deliverable that we're working on this year.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned Feedonomics earlier, and I've got to come back to that. And for those that don't know, it's basically a business you love so much that it's yours now, but takes feeds, cleans feeds up, distributes them to multiple platforms, one of which could be a BigCommerce shop, and then it could be your Google shopping, Bing shopping, it could be marketplaces, eBay and Amazon, it could be TikTok, it could be affiliate sites, so many different sites. And obviously TikTok shop is relatively new, even in the UK it's been a year and a half, but about 6 to 9 months in the US. Where do you think the next big feeds are that we're going to need to push out to? Are we going to keep expanding to more and more sites, or do you think there'll be some sort of contraction and there'll be fewer but more important sites? And I'm asking your forecast for 2025, 26, 2030 here.
Yeah.
Where do you see the market going?
Well, there are right now 2 big buckets of omni-channel channels that are being fed into. One are advertising channels, again, like Google search, the social networks, affiliate networks, display ads. And the other are marketplaces. So Amazon as a marketplace seller, eBay as a marketplace seller, any multi-category retailer that is using a marketplace management solution like Miracle or Marketplacer. The 2 biggest things that I see in 2024 being new and added channels. I'm not going to say the obvious one, which is social networks like TikTok. One is ever new marketplaces. There are a lot of multi-brand retailers, store-based retailers, online retailers, who don't yet have a marketplace component for expanding their inventory, right? Getting in additional product and sellers that they don't buy first party in inventory, but they allow the brands to sell directly to them. I know one of the largest retailers in the world is coming soon to Europe by adding marketplaces, and that will be an extraordinarily great opportunity for so many brands. And I would say Feedonomics is the best way to get your catalog into those marketplaces. Why? Each of these marketplace retailers has their own specific category and SKU structure, their own specific schema.
And the taxonomy is always different from one to
It's
the
always,
other.
it's different 100% of the time from whatever is coming out of a brand's source of truth, their ERP, their e-com platform, their PIM. It will never match that third-party retailer in the way it needs to. So what Feedonomics does so powerfully is not just link a brand's product catalog and sync it into the marketplace. It transforms that data. It adds the words and category and schema information it needs to be ready for that retailer, that marketplace to publish. If you don't do that, the marketplace is just going to reject it, and they are not in the business of taking in 1,000 SKUs from a brand and cleaning them up, right? They have to be cleaned up before they get there. That's what's so powerful in terms of what Feedonomics does. And they can do it for many different marketplace channels and or many different ad channels simultaneously. but I think more marketplaces is number one. And then the other really interesting trend that's happening this year, a bit more so in the US, but it's in Europe as well, is what we're calling instant commerce. Instant commerce comes in two flavors. It is either when a third-party marketplace is saying, I will actually use my own trucks to come by and use your warehouse or your stores as inventory and pick goods up there for same-day delivery.
Take it straight to the consumer.
For the consumer, right? A use case is Amazon, not just using its own warehouses and fulfillment by Amazon, but if a brand has stores or warehouses in a given area and the consumer buys the product on Amazon, Amazon will drive to the store or the warehouse, pick up the product and deliver it same day, right? Basically giving a 1 day or 2 day experience to a consumer for its marketplace sellers, even when the marketplace sellers aren't using fulfillment by Amazon. So that's pretty cool. Walmart's doing it in the US as well. The alternative to that version of instant commerce is what players like Uber or Deliveroo or DoorDash will do. And that is where they say, if the sale happens on the brand's website, our drivers will go to the store or to the warehouse, pick it up and deliver it locally, potentially same day, right? That's instant commerce. And Feedonomics is enabling that too. They already have the integrations into many of those service providers that I mentioned. And now when those marketplaces or maybe somebody like Deliveroo says, we want to sign up this retailer, this brand to do instant commerce, they can enable that.
And you can see it's going to happen because we started off with kind of the pizza delivery, and then it was the supermarket delivery, you've run out of milk or whatever just as you're in the middle of cooking, and now it's getting more product based. You can see how this is just going to get deeper and deeper.
The pandemic massively accelerated that local delivery, same day or scheduled, for grocery and for restaurant food, right? Now it's going to come to non-grocery retail and goods.
So more marketplaces, instant shopping. It's going to be exciting next couple of years. Brent, thank you so much for your time.
It's been a real pleasure. Thanks.